Welcome to Envy's Donut, a podcast about everything, anything, and nothing in between.
Hello, friends. Welcome to another episode. In this episode, I'm going to talk to you about money, about finances, about investments. Well, this is not financial advice. I'm just going to talk to you about my own experience with finances and how I got started in all this investment thing. Yeah, it all started in 2016 with a letter from my bank saying that interest rates will go down starting or next year. I think it was at the end of 2016. In this letter, they were saying the interest is going down to, I don't know, something ridiculous like 0.01% or something like that. And if you feel like your interests are not satisfied by our bank, then you are free to close your account and go to a different bank. So basically, what they were saying was that if you don't like it, leave. We don't need your money. So I was so annoyed by their attitude that it forced me to find solution for my savings. It wasn't a lot, but I was reading a lot of books at that time and I was looking for ways to make money basically other than my own job. So when they sent me the letter, I said, right, this is not right. I'm not gonna stay and let them take the mic with my money. So I said, no worries. I'm gonna look for alternatives. Obviously, it was no point closing my account with my bank and go with a different bank because I knew, everybody knew that all the banks will have the same interest rates. So I start digging, start looking, I start reading books, I start Googling how to invest, where should I park my money. So since my financial knowledge was close to zero, I looked for a way to invest my money, at least getting some interest higher than what the bank was offering. So basically, every other investment out there would probably offer me more than the bank. Later on, I realized that that was the aim of that bank reduction in interest rates, was forcing people to take the money out of the banks and put them in some other type of investments, riskier investments, because there was too much money in the economy. But whatever, I had no idea at the time. So the first thing I did was to Google it. So I looked online and searched for a way to invest. And I found the following investment opportunities: mutual funds, real estate investments, stock market, and other type of passive investments. Basically, they were all a type of content creating IP investments, intellectual property, basically. So things like writing books, doing YouTube videos, doing online courses. I mean, putting together online courses for other people to buy and so on. Obviously, I had no money to buy a house. I didn't own my own house, so I couldn't access loans so I can go and buy houses to put up for rent and collect rent and all that thing that everybody was talking. That's the holy grail of every investment. Everybody's telling you buy a house, put it up for rent. That's easy money. You have no problems. Don't think it's that easy, but I'm not going to talk about that because I have zero experience with that. I haven't bought any houses in my life so far, so I had no idea. Stock market, it felt so unreachable for me. It was difficult back then. I mean, you had to have a broker or something like that. There wasn't too many online brokerage firms or platforms. So I said, well, what am I gonna do? I have no idea what that's all about. So I'll stay away from that. And then content creating. It was interesting, but write a book. A book about what? What should I write about? I had no clue. Being a YouTuber, I was a blogger back in the days, like years and years ago, but I earned zero money from it because it was just for my own personal pleasure. So I never pursue making money from blogging. I don't know. I think just a few people out there monetize their blogs, but it wasn't for me. So I had a kind of idea what the content creating means and it's all about. But I thought it should be more than that. It should be something of interest for other people, not just my own thoughts and things that happening to me in a small village in Romania. So obviously it wasn't a thing to monetize on. So writing a book, I had no idea about what. It will take time and resources and research and so many other things. So I said, no, I can't do that. Online courses, again, I wasn't good at anything. I couldn't teach others about, I had no idea what should I teach others about because I had no other interests could be interesting to others. But I wasn't into that. So I said, no, I'm not gonna do that. So then I said, look, I'm gonna start with the easiest way to invest. Go to a financial advisor. Everybody's recommending that. If you're just starting your investment journey, just find a financial advisor and a good financial advisor. How would you know? I mean, how would you know what a good financial advisor looks like and do? So obviously, I had no idea. So I've asked someone to recommend me one or something like that. I can't remember if it was my accountant or who knows. Yeah, so we arranged a meeting with this financial advisor to talk about our options. He came to our flat and he started to, talk us through our options and different types of portfolios. He showed us all type of charts and, with previous statistics and results of specific portfolios. I said, all right, that's good. We asked, what's the average interest on these portfolios? He said, well, at least 7%. Oh, we were like thrilled. And that was basically yearly, even though he also explained us that it's not constant, it's not, year after year. That is the average interest for the portfolio for 3 to 5 years or something like that. I said, fine, it's still good. He said, look, some years you get like 3%, some other time you get like 7%, 10%, 5%, and then we average in 3 years' time or 5 years' time, depending on the portfolio. And then we can tell you that this is how the portfolio performed in that stretch of time. So I said, that's fine, that's great, that's brilliant. And then we discussed the fees and commissions because I thought there should be some commissions. It can't be just, they'll give you money. They need to make a living as well. And the guy told us, well, it's 1% for the financial advisor and 2% for the financial firm or company that was doing all these portfolios or something like that. So basically, it was 3% a year. And before we make any money, they will deduct their commissions, 3%. I said, fair enough, right? So we did some calculations and we said, well, if our bank is giving us 0.01%, if this guy is saying that we could get 7% minus 3% their fees and commissions, that will leave us with 4%. Well, 4% is almost 4 times more than 0.01%. So I said, yeah, well, we'll do it. And I made sure that we bought a portfolio that wasn't locking us in for 5 years or 3 years or something like that. So I made sure it's for 1 year. We wanted something that we could assess after 1 year time and then see how it went. If it was all right, well, we'll see if we will keep our money there for another year or take our money out and use them in some other ways. So we did just that. What we failed to take into account back then was the risk factor. Yes, we had no idea that there is such a thing as risk. I mean, we knew, but we all know about risk, but we don't really understand how it works. or at least we didn't know back then. And even though it sounded better than the bank, well, with the bank you usually have low risk because you can, most of the time, 99% of the cases, you can go and get your money out when needed, or if you don't like the bank anymore, or if you find some other good deal, or to do something else with your money is there, it's safe, you can take it out, even though it's not safe from the inflation, but that's another discussion. Yeah, so it sounded like a good deal getting 4%. Well, we were so naive believing that we were going to get 4%. We had no idea back then. So 4%, it's way better than 0.01%, even though is riskier having your money in some financial products like mutual funds. Fast forward a year later, we had our meeting with our financial advisor and had a look to see how our money is doing, and how is the fund doing as well, and see if we're gonna continue with them or if we're gonna take our money out, find some other alternatives. Well, after a year, after we calculated all the fees and commissions, basically we got our money back. Nothing was lost, but nothing was gained either. What we gained was basically what we give out to a financial advisor and the mutual fund administrators. So basically, we got our money back the same as we put them in a year before. So no gain there. Well, the good part was that basically we got our money back. After we decided that we want to stop, using our financial advisor and stop investing in their mutual funds, I had the cheek to email the financial advisor and ask him if he knew of any other investments I could do, but not in mutual funds. But the guy was nice enough and he replied to my email. And not just that, but he also told me about this. I think it was a peer to peer investment platform on the internet. It was called Property Moose. And basically, they were investing in real estate, all sorts of, with money from regular people. So obviously, I'm not sure if there was an initial investment, or you could invest whatever money you've got. And I said, all right, thanks. I'll have a look into it. I was a little bit on a suspicious side with everything online back then. Well, even more now. And I decided to look into it, read some reviews, go on forums, ask people to see if they know about this platform, and do some research before I put all my money into this online thing that could disappear overnight. So I did that, and then I decided to invest a small amount of money. I don't know, something ridiculous, just to see if my money disappeared the next day or something. I don't know. Well, so I did that, and obviously they were advertising on their website about the investments, about how you get 7 to 10% interest year after year. And I was reading about people saying they are very content with the platform and they made money and good enough. All right, I'll go with it. But the problem was that I couldn't see any results until each project was funded. And then after, a year has passed, and then when was the time for the interest to be paid towards the investors, then I could see if I actually get any money or not. But the problem is, if I invested like a stupid amount of money, basically investing £10 or even £100, at the end of the year, if it was a legitimate business, I would get a return of, well, best case scenario would be, well, £7 if it was like 7%, or £10 if it was 10%. So I said, well, it's not good. I mean, I'm gonna wait a year with £100 just to see if I'm getting anywhere or not. So I think I decided to put more than £100 just to get a decent, well, not too much, but just not £10. So I did that, and surprise, surprise, after a year, I got some interest paid into my account on that platform. So I said, great, so it's working. And then, well, obviously, I decided to put more money in, like you do. I was looking for long time investments. I wasn't looking for, things to put all my money in something and then in next month get some interest and run with it to Las Vegas and put it all on red. So yeah, obviously I was just testing it first. I thought I'm very smart doing that. I was testing it, and then again I thought I'm very smart to put more money in, because after 1 year I realized that they are working in good faith and their projects actually return money on my investment. So that happened in March 2017 when I made an account with Property Moose and invested a small amount just to test the whole thing. In May 2017, after looking a bit into stock market and just finding out that I could actually open an account, a brokerage account on internet and basically buy stocks. I can't remember how I found out about that, but I said, great, I could do that. So I opened an account with Get Stocks, I think it was back then. And again, I just tried it for a bit. I just put a little bit of money in my brokerage account and bought a few shares of, I can't even remember what shares I bought. And I said, well, let's test it. Let's see if tomorrow or the day after tomorrow I'll still have an account, or if the people will take off with my money and they disappear. Well, obviously, I was suspicious. I'm suspicious now, even more suspicious now than I was back then. But yeah, it was a good thing, testing thing. Soon I realized that it was the same as with the property moose. I wouldn't know. So it's a tough choice. It's a tough decision you have to make. Will you gonna put all of your savings? Will you gonna put just a tiny little bit of money into accounts, into your investments, or you could do with a reasonable amount of money, but then it's riskier. You might lose them. I think the best thing to do is to invest the money that you actually don't need. Don't invest the money for your next rent into anything, because you won't get them back next month with interest, or you might lose it, or you might get less than you put in. You'll get into all kinds of different problems. So again, I opened a brokerage account with Get Stocks in May 2017, and I put a small amount of money in there. I bought a few shares and I waited. Back then, all the transactions on the brokerage account, they were like £7. Didn't matter if you bought shares, if you sold shares, if you transferred money into your account, or if you took money out of your account, it was £7. Or it might have been even £10 when you deposit money and withdraw money from your account. But anyway, so they had fees. It's not like today where you can open a brokerage account, no fees, no anything, no commissions, nothing. But back then it was like that. So obviously I wasn't encouraged to do any day trading, moving money, buying, selling in the same day, same hour, or because it was costly. So for me to make money day trading, I should have made more than £14 with each transaction. That was impossible. Anyway, I had no idea what I was doing back then. I'm not any smarter now, but at least I've got more experience now being in the market for 5 years. Yeah. In April 2018, things were great with my investments in Property Moose. I was getting interest on my investments, so I decided to invest some more, of course. And I was even trying to diversify. I was reading books by now, and I was reading all about don't keep all of your eggs in one basket, diversify, even though I had no clue what diversification means. In my head, going on a different platform, doing the same thing was diversification. Well, I suppose it was in a way. But anyway, things were going great with Property Moose, so I decided to look for another peer-to-peer investment platform. So I found this Lendy platform. Again, a peer-to-peer investment type of thing, again with properties and all that. It was the biggest, the best, the longest, the most financial regulated company in the UK and all that. 10 years experience. People were raving about it. Well, it was great. I said, I'm going to do it. So I'll have Property Moose on one hand, and I'm going to have Lendy on the other hand. And I had my brokerage account. So I had a dip in the stock market as well, buying a few shares of some unknown company. Well, I was doing great. I was on top of my investment career. Then a piece of bad news came to my way. Around that time, Get Stocks was closing down, and they were urging everyone to transfer or liquidate their because the company was closing down. I said, "Oh, great! What is going to happen now?" And I had all these crazy dreams, like one day I couldn't access my account and the company disappeared and all of my money will be lost in a puff of smoke. But it wasn't quite like that. They informed us, they sent us emails long time in advance. They advised us to either to move our shares to a different broker or to liquidate our portfolios, or they also said if we don't do any of these things, they will automatically liquidate our portfolios and transfer the money in our banks. That was fair. That was all right. I didn't know what to do. Again, I was back to square one. I barely managed to find this brokerage platform and to be present on the US stock exchange. So I didn't know what to do. I said, well, where should I go? Where should I transfer my shares? Should I take them out? I didn't know. Anyway, back to square one, do some research. So I couldn't find any suitable and trustworthy brokerage platforms except this interactive brokers. I was reading about them. They were highly rated. So I said, good, that sounds good. I'm going to go with these guys. So I did. After a few emails back and forward, I managed to transfer all of my shares from my old brokerage account to my new broker. That was great. That was flawless. I had all my shares, I had all my money. Now, I was skeptical because I didn't know the new. You know how people are when they try new things. But doing a little bit of research, I realized that interactive brokers are actually better than Get Stocks. So I said, brilliant. They had no fees, or the fees they had, they were like way cheaper than the previous broker. They were offering you a better customer service, a better user interface. Also, they had tools and all this research, information, good stuff. So I said, that's great. That's brilliant. There was too much information. I couldn't grasp it, all of it at once, and I just ignored it for a long time. But it's there, so that was a good thing. So that was a bad news that turned into a good news in the end. So I was happy with that. In December 2018, Property Moose was transferred to a new company and it ended all of their payments, transactions, and interest giving. So basically, they said, we're gonna try to list the company on a London Stock Exchange. To be honest, they offered to give part of my money back, or they said I'll get to keep all of my money if I keep them with them, and they are turned into shares. And then when the company is going to be listed on the London Stock Exchange, then I'll have all of my shares there in that account, and I could do whatever I want with them, either keep them, sell them. A lot of people left. I still got my money blocked there. That happened in December 2018. Now we're in February 2022. I haven't seen my money. They sent me a certificate saying that I've got so many shares corresponding to the amount of money I got with them. So I got my money stuck for 4 years now. Well, nothing I can do about that. That's a hit and miss. I don't know if I'm gonna see that money back anytime soon. I don't know if I'm gonna have shares on London Stock Exchange invested in properties around the UK. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But worst piece of news came next year in May 2019. The best, the biggest, the most trusted, the longest on the market, the most regulated by financial bodies in the UK company went bust. I'm talking about Lendy. Yes, Lendy. Well, some people just run off with all the money and that was it. Busted. So it was put under administration, and since then they were just informed us that, basically the money's lost. People lost their life savings. It destroyed a lot of lives. I think a group on Facebook was created, different groups on different forums, and all sorts of people trying to help people that lost their money with Lendy. I've watched a few discussions, a few conversations, a few actions, but in the end, a lot of people got burned by this big scam, and the financial authorities couldn't do anything about it. So you just have to wonder if that means anything, when you see that a company is financially regulated by some financial authority anywhere. But anyway, obviously I lost my money too. I managed to recuperate, I think, the interest I got on my money. So it was like, I can't remember, I think it was like 20% of the value of my account with Lendy. I think I managed to get it back. That was a few months ago, but that that was it. I wasn't expecting anything. When I heard they went bust, I said, "That's it. My money's gone. Keep going. Find the next best thing to invest in." It seems I'm an expert of investing in things that go bust, but that's a good lesson. I've learned a lot of things doing that. Well, I lost my money. Well, it's nothing I can do about that. Just keep the hope that next time I'll do better. So I can't say I was harmed in a meaningful way by this investment, but that doesn't mean I haven't lost a considerable amount of money, because I did. Well, that's it for this episode. I hope it's of interest to you. If not, well, I just had to say it, and I'm planning of telling you more about my financial adventures up to now, and from now on, why not? Maybe, you can learn from my own experience and you don't do the mistakes I've made, and maybe my experience can help you make better decisions or take the action and do something with your money and try to learn more about money and what to do with it. And that's nothing to do with, I'm content with what I do. I like what I do. I like going to work. Yeah, go to work. That doesn't mean you can't do more with your money. It's your money. Do whatever you like. Well, I'm not greedy. I don't want more money. Well, I'm not saying you should want more money. It's just I'm trying to make you aware that the money you've got, take care of it, basically. That's all. Or you can just ignore whatever I said. It's not for you. It's fine. It's fine. Well, for everybody else that was enjoying the podcast, thank you for listening, and see you next time. Next time, I will talk to you about how I was scammed with Ethereum and how I got into cryptocurrency through a scam. That's how I learned about cryptocurrency. Good for me. And I'll tell you about how I sold my Tesla shares in March 2020 at $420 a share, and then they surged to $1,800 a share. That's another good story. Well, see you next time, guys. Thanks for listening. Bye.